you're having one of the most memorable seasons in the history of the sport. So what are you doing differently this year?
I could really do what my soul desires. I could expand, I could grow, I could improve, I could change.
This is why I think the body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body.
Is no greater privilege than owning yourself.
It's so important to fight for what you believe in. If there's ever something that you wanted to stand up for, you know, I mean, look at us and follow our lead. It is absolutely necessary to fight for what you believe in, big or small.
I could really do what my soul desires. I could expand, I could grow, I could improve, I could change. Or maybe better than change, I could progress.
That was good.
Oh my goodness, what a shot
of the day. Easily. Here's your short angle, gets around, look at this, goes between, look at that.
That's got to be the shot of the day. It's got to be. Look where he is.
He has to hit it right there.
I think it was Rafa who said that you're having one of the most memorable seasons in the history of the sport. So what are you doing differently this year?
Well, I've been trying to obviously respect the same kind of regime of training and kind of a lifestyle and dedication and professionalism to the sport that I've had over the course of the last 5-6 years. And it's been working really well. I think I just managed to reach at this time of my career and my life a peak of my abilities, mental, emotional and physical. So everything kind of came together. And so I'm a more experienced player. I know how to handle pressure on and off the court. So I approach to the tennis life very holistically. You know, I try to cover every aspect of my life and my being in order to reach that height.
When you resolve something, to have a resolution is to resolve it. When you've resolved, this is how it's going to be. That's when you cut off any possibility except the thing you've committed to. It's like the old adage, if you want to take the island, you burn the boats.
In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. I know there's some great music that I have within me that I haven't brought out here yet. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. If you're on a job, 85% they say of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment, you're miserable, you hate to go there, you're depressed just thinking about it, you sing the Thank God It's Friday song every week. If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. See, but you know what most people will do? Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. See, they know this. They're familiar with this. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there's certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. So as you look at your life, you're saying, I'm not getting what I want. As you begin to look toward the future, begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you've got that in you. You've got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side, that life is on your side. Now, will it be turbulent? Yes. Will it be easy? No, no. Will you have some opposition? Yes. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. Will I get hurt? Yes. Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Let me tell you something. It's too much pain to duck. Pain is everywhere. You can hide under here. It will come where you are. It's everywhere. Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. You can't duck it. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of defeat, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of losing, the pain of failure, the pain of being criticized, the pain of not being liked, the pain. That's called life. Life is full of pain. It's everywhere. But guess what? There's no gain without pain. Because it's the pain of regret that you experience. If I had it to do over again.
You know, as a kid who was pretty different himself, I think that, you know, what I would tell people that are individuals out there is, you know, you're the ones who inherit the earth, and believe in yourself and be patient and be as different as you want to be. You have every right to do that. And it may be difficult and lonely at times, but there is no greater privilege than owning yourself.
When you're a competitive athlete, you learn very quickly how strong you are or how energetic you are, all of those things. But it could very well be that there's a lot of people who have an equally as good a body as you have, that performs just as well, that is as muscular, let's say in bodybuilding, there's exactly the same kind of, you know, proportions and all of those things. So the question really is what puts you over the top? It is the mind that really creates the body. It's the mind that makes you really work out the 4 or 5 hours a day. It is the mind that visualizes of what the body ought to look like as the finished product.
Hello everybody. For the last 2 years, I've been doing exhibitions like this all over California in various institutions and prisons and hospitals and so on. And I've been having a great time, and it's a very satisfying thing for me to do, to spend one day every month to come to one of those places and to help the guys with their training and so on.
When I used to do seminars on how to become a champion, I would always ask people, why do you want to be a champion? Or what do you want to accomplish? Why are you training? And they will, if a guy will get up and he will say, well, I want to train because I think that if I get muscular and, you know, I feel like I'm getting the kind of definition, then I maybe can enter a bodybuilding competition. I said, sit down. I said, if you think this way, you're going to be a loser. You're never going to make it because there's no maybe. You got to get up and say, I want to be a champion. And I do whatever it takes. The amount of hours it takes, the posing, the this, the that, the visualization, looking at training footage, looking at motivational books, reading this, reading, whatever it takes, I would do. That's the answer I want to hear from you. You can detect right away those that are going to be shaky and that will fall behind and they will not go all the way, and those that are very hungry. And that hunger you have to develop because you have to create a goal for yourself, whatever that may be, a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and you got to go after that. And if you do not see it, and if you do not believe it, who else will? The body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body. We have to visualize what that body ought to look like in order to make it win, because that's what creates then the will that you need to go to the gym every day. The will that makes you go into the 4 steps, the will that makes you go beyond when you do your 500-pound reps in the squats and you can't do another rep and your body is shaking, it's the will that makes you go one more time down and struggle up one more time. And so it's all of this, so the mental aspect that motivates you and that makes the difference between you being in the gym full of joy and looking forward to doing that extra rep and looking forward to doing those extra 100 reps in the sit-ups and working past the pain barriers. That all is the mind, that's not the body. So this is why I think the body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body. So you got to go to the gym and feel like every rep that you do is getting you one step closer to that goal, to make that vision that you have turn into reality. And that's why when you look at pumping iron, for instance, you can see that we always had great joy in the gymnasium. And people always were saying, why would you laugh and have a good time? You're working at 5 hours. Well, we did because I knew that every workout, every 5 hours, will get me closer to becoming the Mr. Olympia or the Mr. Universe or the Mr. World and all those things. And I think that if you think that along the way you're not going to fail, then you're blind. Because there's no one that I've ever met, no matter how successful they are, that haven't said that they had their failures along the way. You have to. I mean, the only way that you really know that you can lift 500 pounds is if you're willing to fail. So if you're afraid of failure, then you will never grow. The people that grow the furthest are the people that really don't care. They fail or they make it, they're going to take that risk because that's what you have to do. I think what we learn in sports is very helpful to anything and everything else that you do in life. So now you apply that principle to acting. And you say, well, wait a minute, I put 5 hours in every day in working out. I did my posing 1 hour a day. I did my stretching and this and that, and all of those kind of things. So now let me apply the same thing to my acting career. Let's go to acting class every day. Let's go and work on the accent, the same amount of time with the same will, and let's visualize what am I shooting for? Okay, I want to be another Clint Eastwood. I want to be another John Wayne. I want to be another Kirk Douglas, all those great heroes that I admired as a kid. So that's what I'm going after. And that same principle works, even though there's so many people around that say, no, you will never make it because you have an accent, your body is too big, and your name Schwarzenegger or whatever, who can pronounce that? But you know. It doesn't matter if anyone else knows and if anyone else believes in it, but you know. And that you know that that principle of visualizing yourself as a star will work, and all you have to do now is go towards that vision. I've retired from bodybuilding in 1975, and I signed a series of Conan movies. Here I was, big studio behind you, budget $20 million, of course, which was in those days is an equivalent of today, $150 million. I was going to Australia to be a judge at the Mr. Olympia competition. But then all of a sudden, I thought, I should compete. I think the competitors felt very disappointed. So they felt kind of, why would I do that? Why would I take that trophy away from them when I have everything else on the plate? And so I think there was disappointment there. And, I just felt, well, that's something that I need to do. I felt very strongly about it, and so I competed. So now you apply that principle in my political career.
This historic election has come about because there's a tremendous disconnect between the people of California and the leaders of California. I'm running for governor to lead a movement for change. I want to be the people's governor. I will work honestly, without fear or favor, to do what is right for all Californians.
Join Arnold and let's bring California back.
People see me as a big action hero on a screen, and they expect the same kind of bigger-than-life action in reality. That's why in my political career, people always say to me, well, but this is politically risky to go and start, for instance, talking about prison reform. People don't want to go and even talk about that. So I say, well, maybe it's politically risky, but in the meantime, we have 172,000 prisoners in facilities that are built for 100,000, and something is going to break, and something is going to happen. I want to fix it. I felt very strong that I can bring people together. I felt very strong that I could unite Democrats and Republicans, all of those things. And I knew exactly what needed to be done to turn the economy around, to bring jobs back, to bring businesses back, to reform, workers' compensation, and to do all of those things. I knew there's certain things that we have to do to turn the economy around and to make people in California feel like that this is, in fact, a golden state. And true enough, after I have announced, and after I ran, and after I won, all of the things that I've planned became a reality. I always use bodybuilding as an example for a lot of things that I do. If it is talking about the budget, if it's talking about the environment, if it's talking about prison reform, somehow I always get in my experience of what I've learned in bodybuilding and then somehow tie it in of what I'm doing today. I have learned a tremendous amount, and every day still is a learning experience.
So you always saw the opportunity.
And I always knew that it was just the way you think. I can remember our teacher that year, her name was Mrs. Poole, and I can remember her yelling at the class and saying, "This is the worst class that I've ever had. I can't, this class." And I remember being out on the playground and the little kids all upset, and especially many of the girls were crying. We were in her worst class. And I just said, if this is her worst class, she's got an easy life. It was like, just change it. You don't have to believe what she says.